Hi guys, I'm Lisa. Welcome back to the channel. Lately I've been getting some questions about settlement in the comments section, so today I thought I'd talk about that. I am not an attorney and my case didn't settle, so I'm definitely no expert. I figured the best thing that I can do for you guys is hook you up with some resources that are going to help you negotiate a fair settlement for yourself. And because I think a lot of you probably have the same questions that I did when I started this process, I'm going to walk through some of those questions and talk about how I fumble my way through. Will my employer even try to settle? Most employers who are acting in good faith will at least try to work something out with you in the informal stage before EEOC gets involved. And at that stage, settling usually just means that they agree to stop the discrimination and you get to stay happily employed. One of the regulars in the Fed Soup forums once told me that there are two types of claims that don't get resolved in the informal phase. The first kind are the claims without merit, which makes sense. I mean, why would an employer try to settle a case if they're sure they're eventually going to win? And the second type are cases with strong evidence, because when your employer knows they're not going to win anyway, their best strategy is to drag their feet so they can put off losing and paying you for as long as possible. Maybe you'll quit in the meantime. Now, if your case is one of those that can't be resolved at the informal phase and you end up having to take your claim to EEOC, it's probably going to be a while before you have a chance to settle. How much can I expect my employer to offer? EEOC says that the average monetary award for the cases they mediate is about $40,000. But in 30 to 50% of those cases, the employee ends up settling with no monetary award. At some federal agencies, the chances of settling are even worse than that, and the average monetary awards are way less than $40,000. NASA, for instance, settles about 11% of their claims, and their average monetary settlement is just under $20,000, which is about what they offered me. And if you want to know your agency stats, I put some links to that information in the description. So when can I expect my employer to want to settle with me? If your case goes to mediation, you're probably going to be able to work out a settlement much earlier than the rest of us. And your chances of getting a settlement are also probably better than the rest of us. And if your case doesn't go to mediation, your best chance to settle is probably going to come just after summary judgment, assuming you prevail. Prevailing at summary judgment means that your AJ thinks that there's a chance you could win. That gives you a lot of leverage in settlement negotiations. NASA's first and only attempt to settle with me came just a few weeks after I prevailed on summary judgment. Should I make a counteroffer? How much would I even ask for? NASA's offer wouldn't even cover my attorney fees. And for me, attorney fees were a deal breaker. If my boss had acted right, I never would have needed an attorney. So there was no way I could bring myself to accept NASA's offer. We all have deal breakers, things we just can't compromise on. For some of you, it may be reinstatement. For others, it may be back pay with interest. For me, it was attorney fees. Knowing your deal breakers can really simplify your decision making about whether to accept your employer's offer. I think it's always a great idea to make a counteroffer. Why wouldn't you want to do better for yourself if you can? Now, of course, to make a decent counteroffer, you're going to need to know how much your case is worth. And I left some links in the description to help you figure that out. Most of my harm was non-pecuniary, and it's hard to put a value on that stuff. So when my attorney asked me for a number, I had no idea. First, I went to the Fed Soup forums for help, but one of the regulars there told me that my little hurt feelings weren't worth a cent. Thanks for the help. Next, I tried to look for comps, like in real estate, when you're trying to figure out how much houses in your neighborhood are selling for. I searched for claims like mine in the federal sector that involved reasonable accommodations for IBSD. And those comps showed that a typical non-pecuniary award for a case like mine was between $40,000 and $60,000. My attorney thought that was pretty high, and she tried to talk me down from it. I told her exactly why cases like mine are worth that much. By not reasonably accommodating me, NASA made it impossible for me to maintain the most basic hygiene at work. And I felt subhuman every time I was forced to be in the office in that condition. No matter how I felt, or what condition I was in, I still had to hold my head up, put on a smile, say yes ma'am to the woman who put me in that position, and do rocket science for almost 2 years after I filed my original complaint. And I told my attorney that what I wanted more than money was for someone at NASA to have to sit quietly and listen to my whole story and maybe think for 5 minutes about what it was like to be me. That's what I wanted. My attorney went quiet for a minute and then came back with, I think we should ask for the maximum. So we did. And we got it too. I have another video that talks about how we did it, and I'll link to that one at the end of this one in case you want to check that out. Don't forget that in a settlement, there are no do-overs. Once you sign that paper, it's done. So before you sign anything, make sure that your settlement offer is something you can live with. Be honest with yourself about what you need and what you can't accept, and stay true to that. So those are my thoughts about settling. I'll see you guys again next week. Till then, take care and hang in.